The following stories you're about to hear are 100% true. They were taken from YouTube comment sections from different corpse husbands videos, and they were all narrated with the explicit permission of the one person that wrote each single story in a comment. With that being said, let's begin. Here is a short true story. I used to be a truck driver out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And my route would run through the Navajo Nation. I would leave Albuquerque at around 1 a.m. and by 4 a.m. I would usually pull off the road to take a leak right off my highway number 550 in the reservation. I would get out, walk around my truck, do my business and leave usually after taking a 5 to 10 minute break. One morning I was driving through the reservation. I stopped like I always do to take care of business, but in this particular morning something felt off and weird. Weird enough that I didn't even want to get down to take a leak and stretch my legs. So I opened my door and standing from the top of the steps, I took a leak and jumped back into my semi-truck, and with no hesitation at all, I quickly took off to get back on the road. As I was getting back onto the highway number 550, my headlights beamed across the highway when, all of a sudden, I caught a glimpse of something not more than 70 feet away. For the Americans watching, which is pretty much the entire world, that is exactly 21.336 meters. Oh my, it was something I have never seen before. It was like a cross between a coyote and a long wiener dog that stood about 2 feet tall. The length of its body was about 4 feet long, and it was walking in the direction I was just parked at. This animal was not the color of a coyote. It was brown and black, a black coat with a snout that resembled a wild boar's teeth and fangs. Heck, we don't even have wild boars in this area. Whatever it was, it totally freaked me out. With my foot slammed on the pedal of my semi-truck, I could not get out of there fast enough, as I kept trying to switch through all my gears, which felt like forever. It wasn't long before I was at road speed again, but all day I could not get out of my head the thing I saw. What was this deranged ranged animal? It was creepy as hell. Later that day, I was at one of my deliveries, and I was talking to one of my customers when he brought up on his own. Hey, do you ever see weird things on the road driving at night alone in the reservation? I was a little taken aback by his question, as what happened that morning was still too fresh in my mind. I then told him, as a matter of fact, that this morning I did see something. I told him my story, but in the back of my mind I thought, hey, did you send this freaky animal out there? Or was this some random ass coincidence that on the day something happens, he asks if anything has ever happened? After that night, I never stopped on the reservation again to take a break on a dark, lonely road to do my business. I would hold it until I would stop at a gas station up the road, where I knew someone was there. I like to start by saying that I am a female. This happened one time that I, my husband, and some friends were camping.
My husband doesn't like me talking about it, but I feel people should know. Sorry if my grammar is poor. I'm not a native English speaker, and this is more than I usually type in English. Last summer, my husband, myself, and a pair of friends did some overlanding, and we camped, with permission, in Navajo territory in South Arizona. My husband is half Navajo and half black, and our friends with us are native too, specifically Mi'kmaq, from Eastern Canada tribe. I am Japanese, so I knew nothing about skinwalkers or any other Native American legends until the next day. It was cold, so I slept inside our Forerunner with my heated blanket plugged in our batteries. And I remember waking up briefly to a chill in my spine that gave me the creeps, and I happened to look out the window beside me and seeing a huge black figure, about 5 to 6 feet, which is roughly 2 meters. It was sitting between our trucks, which were about 50 feet apart for our privacy. As my eyes accepted being awake and adjusted, I saw a huge, unnaturally huge, muscular black canine, not quite a wolf, not any known species of dog either. I could make out bright blue eyes, even in the dark, that almost seemed to glow their own light. It's impossible, I know. I am only 4 feet and 11 inches tall, which is roughly 1 meter and 50 centimeters. And this thing sitting was taller than me. I had the truck's scale. The thing looked calm, like it was content. So, even when it looked right at me, I was more curious, not scared. Suddenly, it bared its teeth. Suddenly, it revealed a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. It showed what I was certain was a smile. I screamed and I started honking the horn and banging on the roof to wake up everyone, at which point I'm almost certain it stood on 2 legs as it ran off into the darkness as far as a car can go on a highway. Fear plays tricks on the mind though, I know, but I'm certain. My husband said, "We gotta go, it found me. My mother warned me about the blue-eyed one hunting our family for generations, killing the men, but I never believed her. We gotta go back to Canada." Packing in a frantic rush, while looking as terrified as I was, he rushed packing up and arguing with our 2 friends, who weren't taking his urgency seriously, so they just stayed there. Finally, we took off, arriving at a hotel by dawn. Our friend stayed, not believing us. At the hotel, he told me about skinwalkers, and that before she died, his mother told him that she moved to Canada to escape the skinwalker with deep glowing blue eyes that cursed her family, hunting the men that stayed. But he didn't believe her. We cut our trans-American trip short and we headed back to Canada. And after a few months of terrifying experiences of something attacking our house and sheds at our now old home in Vancouver, immediately upon return, we moved across Canada. We have had peace ever since. Since that very day, I am obsessed with researching skinwalkers and listening to stories and encounters. I have found just a few with description chillingly similar to what I had seen. Razor-sharp teeth, huge size, running off on 2 legs impossibly fast and all. It is just the eye color that varies. This thing is real, guys. Respect Navajo land. Their curses are terrifyingly real, as are skinwalkers. Now, this may sound crazy, but I'm certain of what I have seen. It was either a potentially undiscovered huge species of a canine with an entire mouth full of teeth all long and sharp like a dog's two canine teeth but sharper, or it was a skinwalker. I have a recurring nightmare that it is chasing me as I am running terrified through the forest, carrying our crying son, and the skinwalker is chasing me, covered in my husband's blood, letting out a traumatizingly scary howl, a wailing, a scream that sounds like 1,000 wounded souls of various ages and genders all at once. I hate it. And I even have a sleeping disorder because I'm traumatized from this nightmare. And now I have a phobia of sleeping. So I have to take medications to sleep and not dream. It still comes though. I beg readers to take the Skinwalker legend seriously. Stop calling them silly names like Dogman. Dogs are cute. A Skinwalker encounter will ruin your life mentally, emotionally, and spirituality. Stay away from Navajo territory.
I live in Asia, and there we are rather overpopulated. That means that most of the time there is always noise, even at night. I work as a programmer, and due to the pandemic during the year 2020, I work at home. That's good, honestly, since I can work whenever I want, whenever I want. Since my work needs high focus, I usually sleep by day and I work by night. I always enjoy the silence of the night. Super enjoyable, but sometimes I find it disturbing. There was one night about a month ago when my project was delayed and I had to stay up late, very late. Usually I'm done and I call it a day around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., but this time it's around 4 a.m. Funny thing is, in Asia, a lot of people wake up really early. Our houses are also close together, which make the noise easy to hear. Mostly at around 4:30, you can hear noise from someone unlocking their door, walking, or even cooking. But that night is different. There is no sound at all. It's deadly silent, and I didn't even know until I heard a tapping sound. The sound gives a feeling of something pointy and sharp. Something pointy and sharp tapping on the wood. I at first don't realize since I was too focused on my work, but the sound, it's getting louder. When it caught my attention, I felt like it was coming from my neighbor. I mean, I can hear it well, but not that good. I intended to ignore it, but after a few minutes, it caught my attention again, and this time, I'm freaking out. The tapping sound comes from inside the house. The sound is moving around the wall, on the floor, I even can feel it vibrating through my body. It must be said that my house is built out of no wood or whatsoever wood-made things. The sound surrounds me and it sends chills down my spine. Noise is a part of my life, and it's too stupid to be scared of strange noises, but this time it's not. Besides the tapping sound, there is no other sound. I'm scared to death, focusing all my thoughts, trying to detect where the tapping sound comes from, while keeping my heart from breaking apart, but there is no way I can know where the source is. I want to stand up, and I go around the house, but I'm too scared to move. The tapping sound keeps coming for a few minutes before it turns into a scratching sound. Now, I'm panicking. I don't know what to do, and my heart nearly gives up. The scratching sound continues for another few minutes before it suddenly disappears. Just then, I can now hear the usual noise. The neighbor door is unlocking, the sweeping sound on the streets, some people waking up, and a few sudden noises when people drop their things into the kitchen. After that night, I never stay up late anymore. By the way, I would like to apologize for my bad grammar. I just want to share my experience. I hope you guys enjoy it. I live in Arizona, and my sister's friend's mom, who is Native American, has told us so many stories about skinwalkers that they can be less than real. One story she told us that will always stick with me is when she was driving through the reservation. She remembers seeing a half-man, half-rabbit skinwalker jumping really high on the road in front of her. Before she drove directly into it, it jumped over the car and disappeared. She also said that when the skinwalker jumped over the car, her kids in the back seat started screaming and crying out of nowhere.